You're listening to the Ringer NBA show presented by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook is the best place to bet on the NBA because not only does FanDuel have all your favorite player props, but now you can even check out stats and recent performance trends right in the app before you make your picks. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to get in on the action. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
What's poppin'? Real ones. Logan Murdock here. Raja Bell there. Live from ATL. Howard Beck live from Brooklawn. I don't know why I said that, but we're the real ones. How's everybody doing? What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Excellent. Just great to see y'all again. Great to see Raja.
Whenever I ask what y'all doing, y'all act like y'all it's just like, oh, what's going on? I'm asking my friends how they're doing, and you guys just make it awkward. How are you guys doing?
Raja and I just like looking at each other on Zoom, going like, "Are you talking or am I talking? You talking or am I talking? I don't know. You talk."
Go ahead, Howard. You talk. If you really want to know how I'm doing, I'm fucking struggling to stay awake right now. It was a 3:30 a.m. wake up call for a BS 6 a.m. flight, which if I'm in charge of or anyone in my family's ever in charge of flights, they know that there's a very high possibility I will not be on the flight if it's at 6 a.m. But we weren't in charge of these flights. So I got a hotel room. Graciously, the hotel let me check in early so I could pod with you guys, but I'm struggling to stay awake. Yes.
So if we go to a break, you're probably going to fall asleep in the middle of the break. Or you might fall asleep on this podcast.
If you get into one of your long-winded, fucking boring rants, I might fall asleep. I don't know.
And there's like 17 pillows behind Raja too. So like he's ready. Like he's just ready to crash. That bed looks very comfortable.
Howard, I've already tried that out, bro. I laid there for 5 minutes when I got in before I even set up. This is going to do just fine.
All right, man. Well, shit. Let's get to the shits. I'm going to try to talk as least as I can on this pod. We're just going to go into Raja so he can talk the most. We're here to talk. Honestly, this is supposed to be the playoff preview podcast. We're just going to talk about the playoff series we actually care about. We might talk about an Eastern Conference thing here or there, but let's just get right to it. We're going to talk playoffs, and we're going to talk a little bit of Kings, shit on the Kings real quick, and then we're going to go to mailbag. It sounds like a plan? Sounds like a plan. First series I would like to talk about is Nuggets Clippers. I'm very intrigued by this. Raja, what kind of performance is going to be required of Jokic to catapult the Nuggets over the top? And what are the ramifications of that should they get over the top of the series and win it? Wake your game up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a heroic performance, but really, like that's what he does all the time. So, like, he's just going to have to be what he always is. He's probably going to have to step that up a little bit. He's going to need a supporting cast though to show up consistently. The Clippers are playing better than the Nuggets right now. Like, so they're deeper. I think. I would give T. Lue the advantage over the Adelman. Adelman's his name, right? The new coach in Denver. Like, I think there are a lot of things in the Clippers' favor. So, he's going to have to be really good, but he's always really good. I think it's more so going to fall on the shoulders of the guys around him. I mean, he might have a heroic performance here and there, but he's going to have to get real support. What was the other part of that? Would the ramifications if he does or if he doesn't?
I'd imagine if he wins this series with the Nuggets, they're going to have their ass kicked for the next series, no matter what. I think this is going 7. I'll give my prediction till the end. We're doing predictions, Howard, so get ready.
Good enough.
I think like if they get through this series, it's going to be a bloodbath, and they're going to have to figure out and continue to get energy throughout the next as they go through the playoff tree. And my question to you is, what are the ramifications of that? And if they do get through this, how do they sustain if so much responsibility is on one guy?
Yeah. I mean, that's just, that it's tough when you are going to rely so heavily on him to do the level of work that he's doing, and then ask him to take that up another level in the playoffs. It's difficult, especially if you start stretching into, elongated series. But he's just that. To give him credit, man, like his style of play, it's not super above the rim. It's not super athletic. He's not on the ground a lot. Like it would lend itself to being able to like plod, because he plods, right? Like in the best version of plodding, he just kind of plods and plods and plods, and then he's got this incredible statistical game that he's put together. So I think he's kind of set up to be okay. Like if anyone is, to not have that take its toll, and he's a huge individual. But yeah, I would venture to say that if they get into a long drawn out series and they should get by the Clippers, that it's going to be tough sledding from then on out for them.
Have you developed a prodding game like Jokic in your later life, Raja?
No, I can't even plot at this point, man. I'm like, I went out back and was trying to work with Ty the other day, trying to give him some we were working spins into MIDI fades and kind of like giving him some post work. So I had the pad and I was just kind of shadow defending him and letting him bump me. 2.5 hours later, I went to bend over to pick something up for Zen, and my back almost went tragically out. I caught it mid. I looked at my wife. I was like, oh shit, it's almost out. And I caught myself. So yeah, I'm not even plotting at this.
We're a long ways from the videos you'd send in the group chat of you just hitting jumpers just all over the court. I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon.
Those days have passed, sir.
Howard, how much pressure is on Adelman right now, right? Because it seems to be, he's a young coach going into the postseason, but he doesn't even know who his boss is going to be in 3 months. Right. So who is he auditioning for at this point? And how does he coach through these wild set of circumstances against a wildly great Clippers team?
The truth is he's auditioning for everyone. And Adelman has gotten interviews for head coaching jobs vacancies before. So he's as a top assistant who is a veteran who's been around for years, who obviously comes from great coaching stock, his father, Rick Adelman. He's a known quantity as a promising rising coach in this league who's going to be a head coach somewhere before too long, whether it's getting the interim tag taken off and getting the permanent job with Denver or elsewhere. I don't know that I'm looking at this series so much as about what's at stake for him. I feel like it's much more about what's at stake for the Nuggets, period. You just fired your coach and GM with days to go in the regular season. You've sent up all kinds of warning flares about just the state of things in your organization. Jokic is the most low maintenance superstar you can find, but everyone potentially has their limits. And I think the real question here is if the Clippers are really good. The Clippers have been incredible the last couple of months. It's absolutely on the table. And 4-5 series, it's not like there's ever really a true upset. The 4 and 5 are there for a reason. You're pretty damn close. But the Clippers win this one as the lower seed. I don't know. The Nuggets are going to have a lot to discuss, much more than they already have. As they need a head coach, they need a GM, and somebody needs to figure out how you're going to reconstruct this rotation around Jokic, because I don't think it's good enough, even if they win this series. And if they lose this series, it's going to, of course, underscore in boldface just how far they are from contending again. So I think there's just a ton at stake, organization wide, for Denver in this series. And it is absolutely no gimme that they're going to win this. Kawhi's been phenomenal. He looks like 2019 Raptors Kawhi again. I know nobody trusts that he's going to get through a series intact, but we'll see. If he does, that's going to have a massive impact on where this series goes. They have the perimeter defenders to throw at Jamal Murray. And he's always a question mark as it is. Zubac, nobody stops Nikola Jokic. Zubac has had an all-defensive team. He was on my all-defensive team. He's even going to get on a lot of, I think, Defensive Player of the Year ballots. He's had that kind of season, and Zubac is as equipped as anybody to at least make Jokic work. So the Clippers have a lot of things going for them in this series. And again, I know no one trusts James Harden in the postseason. No one trusts Kawhi's health. No one trusts the Clippers in general. I think you'd be foolish to overlook them.
How much do you trust the Clippers, Raja, long term?
I mean, long term. Look, they're playing great basketball right now. They've got a lot of the reasons Howard just spoke about. Throw T. Lue in the mix. Norman Powell's great. I trust them. I don't. I don't know that I trust them to come out of the West, but I know we'll get to predictions, but I'm kind of with Howard in this series. Like, I do trust them in the first round. And then, we'll let chips fall where they may, moving forward after that. But I trust them through a series for sure.
What is this season said about this type of team, right? Where, man, I don't think there was a lot. I got to go back and see what we said in the preseason about the Clippers. Like, you had an older James Harden, who I think deserves a lot of credit for holding down the fort, right? Until Kawhi got back. What does this say about this type of team that they were able to pull this off and not only get out of the play-in, but get a 5 seed in this tough Western Conference when they only had Kawhi for the backstretch of the season?
I think it says a lot about T. Lue, first and foremost. That's a lot of, the last couple of years have had a lot of moving parts, and to keep a steady ship, maybe I'd even go above T. Lue and just say organizationally, it speaks to kind of stability. And you talked about, when you were giving a little teaser about what we were going to get into today, we'll talk about a franchise that has a lack thereof, but like that speaks to some stability to be able to kind of, stay viable through all of that. Right. I think you got to give James Harden a ton of credit. The Philly situation, what happened in Brooklyn, he's been great. Health, we talk about it all the time in terms of like it being like the number one thing to predict whether you will be able to be successful in a playoff run or just in general, or whether your hopes will be derailed. Like, if you don't have health, if Kawhi's not healthy and playing great, it makes you a different team. I don't think that's deniable. Like, you have to give everyone there, a level of credit. And then just Van Gundy on the coaching staff too. Like, I think that's been T. Lue is awesome. But anytime you can get that level of support and just overall basketball knowledge and experience to go along with an already great coach, I think it just makes for a really solid and stable kind of organization and coaching staff.
Raja, what's the bet? We talked about individual matchups with Howard just now. What's the individual matchup in this series that you are most intrigued by?
I think I probably don't have a great answer. It might not be what you're looking for, but I think what I'm going to be looking for, just having some experience with T. Lue and watching him kind of strategize or help David Blatt strategize in that finals run we had when Kyrie got hurt against Golden State. A lot of the times when we'd be at a breakfast meeting, you guys know, like, you play the night before, and if you're going to play, maybe 2 days later, you might not practice. So you might have like a breakfast meeting and have treatment. And the guy that was usually leading the charge in terms of strategic adjustments defensively was T. Lue. Now, I'm not saying he was like the architect of all of that, but when you sit down and be a table away from them, like, he was the guy that was doing a lot of the brainstorming out loud. So I think what they choose to do with Nikola and Zubac, like, if they're going to, if they're going to double, are they going to just let him go and try to score 50 every night? Because to Howard's point, Zubac has had a great defensive season and is big and can guard him and make life difficult. If you decide to double, when are you coming? Is it on, is it on the catch? Is it on the, like, those type of things? I think the chess match with how T. Lue and Van Gundy decide to try to handle the matchup between Zubac and Jokic is the most interesting one for me.
What's the most interesting storyline for you, Howard?
I mean, obviously, top line is the one we addressed, which is I just think that there's a lot at stake for the Nuggets, like losing in the first round. Like, I don't know how much further they can melt down as an organization than they already have in the last week, but there's more to go. Beyond that, I think a lot of it is just like, how much can Jokic elevate this team, right? We know that this is not the same caliber of team he had a couple of years ago around him. We know that he and Westbrook have had some really great chemistry at times this season. We know that Westbrook has been a little problematic for them at times later in the season. We know they've got a bunch of young guys that Calvin Booth, don't give me that look, Raja. We know we got a... we know Russ is just such a hot button for you.
Raja might quit the show this postseason. He might quit the show after this series.
Russ, you better be fucking good, Blake. I'm telling you.
You better fucking be good.
You better be fucking good.
Raja, the answer to the question is Raja has the most on the line here. His emotional investment in Russell Westbrook, there's just a lot at stake. Because if Westbrook melts down in this series and the Nuggets lose, Raj is never hearing the end of it from us or from anybody. It'll break his heart. I just think that like the beauty of Nikola Jokic, aside from like just eye-popping stats and 60-10-10 games and whatever, is that the guy always makes the best play, the smart play, elevates everybody around him, gets the best out of everyone. You take the same group of players, scatter them across the league, and they're not having the same kinds of seasons as they're having next to him, right? And that's never more important than in a series like this, or in any playoff series for that matter. They're not winning on Jokic alone. There's a Jamal Murray element here where obviously, like, you know, you need a second star, and Murray has been that guy when they're at their best. And he's had actually a pretty solid season, but I think it's been a while since we've seen him have a great playoff series. So there's all of that. How are the Nuggets dealing with Kawhi? Is that, I assume it's an Aaron Gordon assignment out of the gate. How are the Nuggets young guys going to hold up? Because they're now relying on them a lot more. Like Calvin Booth wanted Malone to play the young guys. Malone was a little reluctant. No, they're in there now. And now they're thrown into the crucible. So all of that's fascinating. And then the last thing here for me is like, there's the potential for like a little bit of a mini James Harden redemption arc here. Like you're not going to redeem years and years of playoff flameouts with one series where you're the second, third, fourth most important guy on your team, right? Like Kawhi's super important, Norm Powell's important, Zubac is important as a two-way guy. James Harden doesn't have to be the Harden of old, of Philly years or Houston years. But just coming through and having a really efficient series shooting-wise and a great series as a playmaker, as a setup guy, could go a long way toward making us reevaluate Harden a little bit. It's not
to like be fair though. To be fair though, Howard, this isn't. I don't think the first round is a series for. He usually does well in the first round. It's usually like the second and third rounds where he kind of falls off the ledger. Sure,
but we've written him off. Like when's the last time anybody really considered him? Like he made my All NBA third team. I'll disclose that here. I had to think.
I think the last time we really took him seriously as a, we'll see what happens type of guy, and like he's a guy. I think it was maybe game 1 or 2 against Boston. Was it against Boston in 23 when he started balling out, and then sorry, Cliff, I apologize, buddy. And then he collapsed at the end of the series, and they lost that series. I think it was against Boston, but where he was good the first 2 games, and we were like, "Whoa, are the Sixers going to the finals?" And then the answer was no. But I think that was the last part. Like 2023 playoffs was like the last time we gave.
Like I say, mini redemption arc, not wholesale, because he's not the most important guy on this team, and it's not all rising and falling on him. But it's great when superstars in their relative twilight, he's on the back stretch here, can kind of reinvent themselves or do this in a different way, playing a different role. He's not the primary scorer. He's not the engine of this offense, except as a playmaker for the most part and an opportunistic scorer. And he's got a chance to just change people's opinions at least a little bit in the first round here. Because if they get out of the first round, Clippers can go on a run. I mean, listen, the next round is the Thunder, so I don't want to get too carried away. But still, I think there's, like I say, a mini redemption.
All right, prediction time, Howard. Who you got winning the series?
Clippers in 6.
Ooh, I'm not mad at that. I was going to say Clippers in 7, but I'm not mad at Clippers in 6. I'll go Clippers in 7. Who you got, Rob?
Yeah, I actually had Clippers in 6 too. I'm with Howard.
Okay. Did 20 minutes on them. Let's go to the other side of the bracket. Lakers Wolves. FanDuel is letting you get in on the NBA playoff action right from the first tip, because right now all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just use your token on 3+ leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. Let's take a look at the slate. It is play-in Friday, Heat Hawks. Wow. I'm going to take the over on points scored from Trae Young. I'm going to take the under on points scored from Tyler Hero, and I'm going to take the Heat outright to beat the Hawks. Yes, I said it. That's what the Heat are going to do. Let's take a look at the next game. Mavericks Grizzlies. I think I'm going to take the over on Ja Morant points. I'm going to take the over on Anthony Davis points and rebounds. And you know what? I'm going to take the Mavericks. Why not? There's no better place to bet on all the playoff action than America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com/RingerNBA and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the playoffs. That's FanDuel.com/RingerNBA. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states or 18 and older and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLING or visit rg-help.com. Is to bet on all the playoff action in America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com/RingerNBA and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the playoffs. That's FanDuel.com/RingerNBA. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states or 18 and older and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLING or visit rg-help.com. Lakers, obviously, we talk about them a lot on this program in depth. We all know the trade and everything that happened. Nico Harrison, we're just going to spare you today, but geez, dude, another bad week. Another bad week of quotes from Raj's guy here. Sorry, that had nothing to do with this, but I had to be acknowledged.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
But the Lakers seem to be, on that path of like fringe title. I mean, finals contender. I picked them to go to the finals this year. But seems to be on that trajectory. And then you have the Wolves, who we talked about the trade. We talked about Ant's rise and how impressive I think he's been this season. I guess I'll start with Howard on this. Who has the most to lose? In this, whether it's a player or a coach in this series?
Oh man, I think it's everybody associated with the Timberwolves. Frankly, when the Lakers made the Luka trade, and I think we hit this last week, I'll say it again. That wasn't a trade to say let's go win the championship in June of 2025. That was you want to give us a generational superstar, Nico? Cool, awesome. We're set for the next 10 years. Second time on this pod I've had to make Raja cringe. I'm
on the wrong side of I got to reevaluate.
It hasn't been a good season for you, buddy.
I got to reevaluate.
So the Lakers don't have to win. Like clearly, based on the way that they have finished the season, based on the way they've played since they got Luka, based on their seeding, if they were to lose this, I'm not saying that it's not a massive letdown. Of course it would be. But the Lakers, and obviously we have a biological clock ticking on LeBron James. I'm not dismissing any of that. But the Lakers have Luka for the next 10 years. And the point of the trade was not to win a championship this year. It was to be great for the next 10 years. And the Timberwolves are the ones who, because primarily financial concerns, had to trade one of their best players, Karl Anthony Towns, to plug in a less good of a fit and a less talented player in Julius Randle. And it's been a rough season for them. They finished it really strong, though. I wanted to mention, so since the All-Star break, the Clippers, who we were just talking about, and the Wolves, both with a net rating of 8.3, that's tied for fourth best in the league since the All-Star break. So the Clippers and Wolves have been, fourth, fifth best teams in the league since the All-Star break, behind only Oklahoma, Boston, and Golden State. Timberwolves 18-8 over that stretch. They're not the wonky team that we saw earlier in the season. They have kind of found their groove, and Julius Randle has kind of found his way with them, and they've figured out, I think, their best use of him. But if the Wolves lose in the first round after going to the conference finals last year, look, I don't think Chris Finch is getting fired. I don't think Tim Connolly's going anywhere. New owners are coming in, A-Rod and Mark Lowry finally taking over. I think the future is promising, but they're going to have some serious decisions to make because like every other team with a young superstar, in this case, Anthony Edwards, you're always on the clock and you got to find the right combination around him. And I think Julius Randle's got a player option for next season. Are you, if he opts out, are you re-signing him? How much? Are you extending him? Are you signing and trading him? Are you letting him walk? Are you just plugging in Naz Reid and then using the savings to fill out the roster somewhere else? Like there's a lot for them to figure out no matter how this goes, but especially if they lose in the first round.
How do you, Raja, there's a lot of ways the Lakers can, get offense, but how do you see them attacking Minnesota's defense?
Some of that's predicated on what they're going to do to them defensively. But I think for the Lakers, it's going to be business as usual, right? Like they're going to try to get out and go. LeBron's going to try to get out in that open court. Luka is going to have the ball and see what he can create at a pick and roll and see what kind of coverages he's going to get, what kind of rotations he's going to get. Your shooters are going to have to step up and make shots when that's the game plan. And Luke's got the ball. Luka's going to need to be good. They just kind of rotate. I mean, I'm not saying anything that people don't already know, right? Like they're going to have the ball in their three best players' hands. Austin Reeves to some degree, Luka to a much larger degree, and LeBron James. And they're going to put you in situations, whether it's pick and roll or in ISO situations, if that's on the mid post or whatever, to break down your defense and then try to figure out where your rotations are coming from. And then picking that apart and making shots becomes, a large part in whether or not they're going to be able to score enough points that night to beat you. We've talked about this before. When guys are making shots and they're getting the support from the bench and their 3-point shooters, they look really good offensively. When those guys go cold, they look like a different team. And almost despite what the big three do, and unless they're just all three of them on fire on any given night. So like that's going to be what it's about. They've got more ways to attack you, the Lakers. That's when you put a guy like Luka already with LeBron. They've got so many ways that they can come at you. If you're going to throw your better defenders in your scheme at LeBron, well, then they can make it Luka-centric. If you're going to do it to Luka, you can't put out but so many fires defensively. That's the problem, when you've got multiple guys on a court that can create to the level that the Lakers do. And I even throw Austin Reeves in that. And it just becomes really problematic for defenses to scheme against that many people that can create effectively and efficiently. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what they're going to be looking to do.
I love when Raja says something brilliant and was like, I don't know if I answered your question. I don't know if I did a good job.
No, because I get lost. I got lost in what I was saying, so I don't know where I went. But
one of the things that I'm thinking about is also the Lakers defense, right? Where they've been great down the stretch of the season, but they're still not very big. You're relying on Jackson Hayes, which I am scared to death of every time I watch them, but I'm also impressed by Jackson Hayes, how he's been and how he's improved as a defender within this defense. Credit to JJ Redick. But how can the Minnesota Timberwolves stretch this defense, right, and exploit this defense? Because they do have a lot of size, Raja.
Yeah, well, I think, as I thought about the matchup, I mean, obviously, Ant is where it starts. And I think it was last playoff series, I thought personally that he got put into some tough situations in terms of scheme against him that he didn't have answers for. He looked like he was just kind of stuck in these weird spots, like way out top on the floor, and he didn't have an answer to either get downhill or get to something good. Like he allowed himself sometimes to be taken out of the game. I think he's been a lot better with that this year. I think he's kind of, that natural maturation as a player and experience. He has more answers than he did in the past. And so, what I would say to him, it might be counter because I know he's shot a ton more threes this year, is I would try to keep getting at the rim against the Lakers. When you've seen them struggle, it's because people are not letting them off the hook by just casting up a bunch of threes against them. Just a few games. Let's go to the Golden State game. We talked about it last time when Kuminga was just on top of the rim, right? Like you go back to the Celtics game when they played the Celtics, they had a good balance of just getting on top of the rim and shooting threes. And so I think you can't let them off the hook. And it's much easier to just get caught up in that in today's NBA because everyone's shooting such a high volume of threes. But you have to try to take advantage of their lack of size in the paint and really get to the rim. And then you got to try to punish them on the glass. Like, you're bigger, you're more physical. Like, you've got these pieces that could be punitive to them on the offensive glass and around the rim. And so you have to try to hit them in their soft underbelly, if you will, and see if that works. And if it doesn't, then we kind of strategize again. But like, I'm going at your weakest point, and that's where I'm going to try to start to beat you.
What I want to see from Ant is a continued maturation of his offensive game, right? Because they're going to throw double teams at him. They don't really have like a really prominent – the Minnesota doesn't really have a prominent secondary scorer, which I think is something that they're going to get down the line. But right now, as a consequence, they are going to blitz Ant every single time down the floor. They're going to double him. I want to see him be a little bit more patient with the basketball in the postseason, right? I think that in stretches last year, he was a little flustered when those double teams came, specifically as the playoffs wore on. So I want to see him a little bit more patient with the ball, but I think that he's a couple more years away from the offensive power that he is going to be, and that's going to say a lot. But I'm curious to see, Raja, how he does when teams blitz him in a playoff setting once again, right? Like, that's something that I really want to see, as he's the primary offensive option.
No, for sure. I mean, look, that's what he struggled with, right? He struggled with having answers to that up top on the floor last year. And I do think that, like, when you're in a world with Julius Randle, DiVincenzo, Nas, like even Rudy, if you're going to commit, this is simple math, you're committing 2 people to me up top. Well, when I spray this thing out, let's get on top of the rim. Let's not just settle over and over again for long threes. Now, don't get me wrong. There's an ebb and a flow to every game. If we're cashing out and we've knocked down 6 of those bad boys or 7, and it's that night, yeah, man, we're going to ride that. But when that ebbs or when that flow flows and that thing starts like not going in for a few trips down the court, get back on top of the rim. It's like with anything. If there's a weak spot, that's where you attack. If it doesn't prove dividends like the first time, if you're not seeing the benefit and the reward of that, like, immediately don't abandon it. It's like body blows in a fight. Like, they're not sexy, right? Like, you might not see somebody every time you touch him in his solar plexus, like grimace or anything like that. But over the course of 5 or 6 rounds, you get hit enough, and that shit starts to take a toll. And so with the Lakers, I'm not saying that it's definitively going to work. You got to get on top of the rim.
Yeah, and then Howard, how important of a series of this is this for Luka, right? Like, where he's kind of had to, at post trade, he's had great games, but also he's had to figure out his mindset getting to a new place, and his game hasn't been, at least the stats haven't been what they were in Dallas, right? What can this postseason do for him to kind of not necessarily get back on track? It's Luka Doncic, but figure himself back into his normal form in the postseason. What is this series, you think, going to do for him and his psyche?
I can't remember who said it. It might have been Brian Windhorst said it. I thought this was like a really interesting way of encapsulating when Luka goes back to Dallas and smokes the Mavericks in his first time back there, and obviously a very emotional night. And it was like, this is the day Luka Doncic became a Laker, basically. Was Windy's line, which I loved. Like, I think there's something to that. Like, you have to get over the emotional hump, and that like you've been sitting there for the last couple months, like still kind of in a daze, emotionally, and just trying to get your bearings. And he certainly has basketball wise, right? Like, he has learned how to play with and off of LeBron. He has learned how to leverage, Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes is like, thrived in his minutes with Luka. Like, he's a really smart basketball player. Like, he has done a great job, as you would expect him to, as an elite playmaker and a guy who sees the games, 5 moves ahead. He's done a phenomenal job in just kind of integrating himself in that offense, and in a lot of ways becoming that offense. But the emotional side of it lagged, right? Like that whole thing of like, all right, this is who you are now. This is your surroundings. This is your identity. This is your city. This is your team. And I think winning that first playoff series is going to matter as much or more than like going back to Dallas and vanquishing that particular bit of psychological, baggage, right? Like there's like winning your first series is going to matter. Winning your first game, for that matter. Playoffs are different. The whole intensity of it and the weight of it is different. So like, it's not important for his basketball legacy. Like the guy got the Mavericks to the finals last year. He's traded in the middle of the season. Again, like I don't think like if the Lakers somehow lose to the Wolves in this series, we're going to be like, well, that was a disappointment, but whatever. JJ Redick's first year, Luka's first couple of months with the team. LeBron is 40 years old and they're still, they don't have any bigs. They need to like figure out how to like, there's no consequences, which is wild to say. For the Lakers, there's always consequences of anything less than a championship traditionally. But like, I think this is more just like
right now.
They're just vibing. Yeah. This is just like, let's find our way through this. Let's see what we can do in our first run together. And then, go from there because there's still work to do on this roster.
Last question on this series, Raja. What version of LeBron is needed during this series and beyond if they advance?
LeBron's got to be good. It's gonna have to be the LeBron minimum, the LeBron of the regular season. I guess theoretically, if Luka were to continue to raise his game and he was now a quote unquote Laker in that way, and he becomes 25% better than he's been. Like LeBron could scale back, but I think if they're hoping to be this team that has this kind of shot at a deep playoff run and a championship, like LeBron has to be really good. LeBron's got to be playing, and he's got to be really good playing off of Luka when the time is needed, right? And he's been that so far. They figured it out. Because that's what this is going to look like. Like Luka's going to have it. Luka's going to be orchestrating for the most part. LeBron outrun. Like let's get you in transition. Those are so much easier for LeBron. Believe it or not. Like I know you're sprinting and you're running, but the reality is those are kind of free looks at the rim for a dude who's as big and strong and fast as LeBron. But he's got to be good. He's got to be good. That doesn't work. The supporting cast isn't good enough, or hasn't been good enough, or consistent enough for it to work without LeBron being LeBron, Luka being some version of Luka, and then Austin Reeves. Like those three two of them have to be really good, really good. The other one, if he's giving you a really good night, then you don't really need the bench as much. If he's giving you an okay night, then you need the bench. So like there's not a ton of wiggle room for their stars not to be stars. But I say this every playoffs. Like you go into the playoffs and your stars aren't stars, you don't have a chance.
No matter what.
That's point blank period. If your star ain't starring, we don't have a chance.
No. Prediction time. I'm gonna go Lakers in 6. Ra, who you got?
I so badly want to go. Oh, I want to go T-Wolves so bad. I want to go T-Wolves so bad.
Do
I
it.
tend to agree with
Stop
you.
being scary, man.
I'm not being scary. I'm being logical, right? You have 3 dudes who can close games in that way. 2.5. Austin Reeves, he's really, really good. But like playoff Austin, he could secure it for me this offseason. But you have 2 of the best on the planet in terms of I can win us a game if I need to win us a game. F whatever else is going on, I got this. Like, just keep giving me the ball and I'll get it done. And so, I've always made it a habit not to bet against LeBron. I'm not about to start now. I'll go Lakers in 7. 7.
Okay. Howard.
Yeah, same. Lakers in 7. In crunch time, I trust obviously LeBron and Luka. And to Raj's point, like Austin Reeves is dangerous there too. And the fact is with the Timberwolves, it's like, outside of Anthony Edwards, I don't trust Julius Randle. DiVincenzo's had some great moments for the Knicks last postseason, but like, where else are you going if you bottle up or if you throttle Ant Edwards? There's a lot to like about what the Timberwolves have done, especially over the last 6 or so weeks. But I respect them enough to think this can go the distance. But I think ultimately it's stars win series. Usually you point to like the team that has the best star on the floor. All due respect to Anthony Edwards, he's the 3rd best player in the series. Yeah. And the Lakers, for whatever faults they still have as a team that's like in transition after that trade, they're still better. Lakers in 7.
It's crazy. Even if after what you said, Howard, you kind of made me want to go the other way. Lakers in 5. Just for that thing that you said. Like,
No.
I don't know if we can give them the benefit of the doubt for it to be a long series.
My Lakers in 7 argument caused you to go Lakers in 5. That's
yeah, you were
that's
like,
some weird
yeah.
Jedi mind trick shit going on there.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you're just saying like, hey, they have 3 guys to 1, and I don't know if the supporting cast of one team is as good as the other one. Kind of made me want to. It might be a faster series than we think. I'm gonna go Lakers in 5. Fuck it. You guys want to change your picks at all, or you guys?
No, I would just
okay.
no. Listen, let me just say this. Like, I'm taking the Lakers. There is a world like where Minnesota and this defies even my own logic as to why I would pick the Lakers, right? But like, if they get you in a brawl, Minnesota can get really physical, really athletic, really disruptive defensively, and that would be what they would have to do. You know what I mean? To stretch that out, and then you get a game 7. Who knows what happens, right? But I'm still taking the Lakers.
It's funny because I was thinking about this, Raja. Sorry, Logan. Like Julius Randle. Like Julius Randle loves to bully ball, loves to go ISO. All the things that make him like really dangerous, but also really dangerous to your team because he could just completely stall out your offense and like have absolute tunnel vision. But I'm thinking about like who's guarding him. Like, are you putting LeBron on him? Is it Rui? It's not Jackson Hayes. Maybe it's Dorian Finney-Smith. Like the Lakers have bodies to throw at him, but he's going to punish you. And the thing is, I'm not sure if that's actually to Minnesota's advantage or disadvantage ultimately.
A tough one. Who knows? But like Howard, here's like when you get in a slug fight like that. This is what I would say to that. Like you're outgoing. You know they've got the 2 of the best players on the planet. And then a third guy who's pretty damn good out there and can do some special stuff with the ball. I'm gonna take like that ugly style that you're talking about. Forgive me, but like that unaesthetically pleasing style. Just keep letting him do it, and then we're just gonna we're just gonna keep crashing the glass. That's the game I gotta play. I can't beat you in this tuxedo of a game. I don't have a chance. Like if we're gonna be out here like, you know, shining like we all like in Hollywood, like we're going out, like that doesn't work for me. We got to be out in like Timberland boots and you know, like this
Onyx playing, huh?
Yeah, no real. That's the style they got to play.
Body in the trunk. Howard don't know what the fuck we're talking about, Rob, but you know, got out the mall, the big cat running the fade. Anyways,
hey, one of my best memories in the NBA, Game 1, 2001 NBA Finals, locker room, Staples Center. I got Allen Iverson to maybe the left of me, Aaron McKee to the right of me, and Nori is blasting as Larry Brown is walking around like talking to people and stuff like that. It was one of my favorite. I don't know why it's seared into my mind. Well, I do know because Allen Iverson looked at Larry Brown and asked him like standing right where the fuck did you find this guy? And like right in front of the locker. And it just like crystallized it. Like that was like one of my NBA moments. I was like, this
you could have shed a thug tear right then and there. You could have shed it right there.
Yeah, Banned for TV was on. That's what it was. Banned for TV, right?
Hell yeah. Let's go. All right, let's get right to Warriors Rockets. I'm going to that series. I got a fucking 5 a.m. flight tomorrow to Houston. Whew. This Papados better be good. Anyway.
Always.
What's going to win out, Raja? The youth of the Rockets or the old headsmanship of the Warriors?
Yeah, this one hurts, guys. This is a tough one, man.
We talked enough about both teams. We'll just get a prediction real quick. What are you guys looking for?
Yeah, listen. This is tough, man, because I could apply the same logic that I just applied to the Lakers or even the Clippers, saying that but Ime is really good. They're young. I'm Houston in 6.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Howard, go ahead.
You want an explanation, right? Just you want to. I mean,
no. Go ahead, Howard. Go ahead. What's your pick?
Warriors in 6.
So okay, this is I've been going back and forth on this. I think the Rockets are the better team. I just think the Rockets are the better team. They're deeper. They're not going to get punked. All those things, right? They have a coach. They're on the rise. I think they really believe in themselves. I love their team. That being said, at first I said Rockets in 7, right? But what would that mean? That means the Rockets would have to beat Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in a game 7, and I just don't see that happening, right? Then I was like, okay, maybe Rockets is 6, right? Cool. I don't see them going into San Francisco and beating Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in a closeout game. It's really hard as a young team. It's super hard. So then I was like, Rockets in 5, maybe. There's no way that the Warriors are going to do that. So that being said, I'm taking the Warriors in 7.
Yeah, that's a convincing. I mean, when you break it down, it's convincing. I think probably like this is one of those ones where like my brain is telling me Golden State, but something about Houston, the youth, the physicality, the athleticism, and what Ime is able to do, like
they're not going to get punked either. That's not going to happen.
I'm taking them. Fuck it. I'm sticking with it.
Fuck it, huh? Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Are there any before we get to the Kings? Kangs? Howard Kings? Kangs?
Oh, no, it's Kangs. It is Kangs. They will not be. We cannot give them back their proper name for quite a while again. Here, I'm sorry. You got about a 2-year respite from it. A 2-year reprieve. You are back to Kangs for the foreseeable future, probably with an extra Z on the end.
All right, before we get to the Kangs, is there any Eastern Conference series that really stick out to you? I know, Howard, you're going to you're doing Knicks Pistons, much to your chagrin, and we won't say why. But I like that series. Pacers Bucks. Shout out Dame coming back. Rumor of the week.
Yeah. Is he back? Is he back?
He's back. Yeah.
Well, we don't know which game.
We don't know which game. He has to ramp up, but he's fine with his blood clot. He has to ramp up to get back into game shape, but he's going to be playing.
All right.
The series.
Yeah.
Any series that like let's call it a guilty pleasure series in the Eastern Conference that any of you guys are going to be looking towards and watching?
I think Bucks Pacers is going to be fun. Like I look forward to seeing Dame back on the court, hopefully sooner than later. You want to see everybody at full strength at this time of year, but Tyrese Halliburton had a quote like a few days ago where he's like, everybody knows we don't like each other. Like there's like it's funny. Like Pacers,
speaking Rogers language.
Like if you weren't paying attention, like you might have missed it. But like, yeah, Giannis gets that scoring record December of last season. And they run off with the game ball, and there's this whole thing about, no, we're giving the game ball to the Rook because he scored his first points.
Giannis is getting under a lot of people's skin lately, right? Like you talk about what happened in Detroit with Malik Beasley, right? He did a little shimmy in Malik's face and stuff like that. He's doing shit to get to Jaylen Brown, him and Jaylen Brown earlier this season. He's getting under people's skin, bro.
Giannis is edgy.
Reveling in it.
Yeah, but also like the Pacers, like Tyrese talks a lot of shit. And the Pacers have got some like real gritty guys.
Yeah,
I think they're overall top to bottom a better team, but the Bucks have the best player in the series in Giannis. So like it's just and they don't like each other. They have a history of this. They're saying it out loud. They have had a lot of tensions, and so that series
in 7. Indiana in 7. Fuck it, let's do it. Let's go. Fuck it. That's not even that big of a prediction.
Pacers in 6.
Rob.
Hey,
long off season for the Bucks.
Yeah. I'm taking the Pacers in 6 or 7. I mean, you pick one of those.
6.5.
All right.
There you go.
Cool. We'll talk about the ramifications of that when that happens. Hey, a couple months ago, Cliff told a friend of the show, Ben, that he better watch out for the Pistons. Cliff, get on here real quick. Do you stand by that? Your prediction, what's going to happen in this fucking Pistons Knicks series? What's going on? So your prediction, what's going on, buddy?
All right, my prediction is the Knicks they're gonna get punked at the Garden by Isaiah Stewart. He's gonna crash out on somebody.
He got a Jamaican record coming out. It's kind of fire.
Bro. He roster, man. He got a little track going on. Vibes Cartel's home.
Jamaican record, bro.
He's Jamaican.
A reggae record.
Yeah, he's Jamaican. Yeah.
Did I say that wrong? I said it. No, he said it because I said it wrong. And I got it fucked up. He has a reggae record out. I apologize. Sorry about that.
But nah, Pistons in 5, bro. Pistons in 5.
Pistons in 5. Pistons in 5.
Stop playing. You came in here. Now you don't come out here and make a mockery of this shit. Talking about Pistons in 5.
All right, I'm not making a mockery.
Crazy.
I'm not making a mockery of it, but I'm a stick to the Pistons winning the series though, just for the hell of it.
Okay, Raja, who's winning this series?
No, I could see that. I mean, I could see it. I don't think it'd be 5. I'm actually going to take the Knicks though. I'm going to take the experience. I think Detroit's awesome, and I think it's going to be this could be like one of them Rocky.
A lot of crash outs.
Yeah, this could be just like a Rocky movie, right? Like we're just going back and forth, haymaker after haymaker. Everybody's on the canvas. But ultimately, I think I'm going to take the Knicks. and they're just experienced on that block. Like the Pistons just moved in, baby. The Knicks had been there for a minute. I could definitely see it playing out the other way, but I'm going to take the Knicks 7.
Man, Roger just want them Severance premiere tickets. That's all he wants, man.
Ben, I got you.
Pistons in 6.
I got you.
Pistons in 6. Fuck it. Howard, who we got? What's going on?
A lot of respect for the Pistons, and I do think that the defense there, the defenders they've got, Asar Thompson, like they can make life difficult for Jalen Brunson. If you can cut off Jalen Brunson, if you can throttle him, like now it's like who's stepping in? Is it Karl Anthony Towns? Like, and who else is making plays for them? So like I do think the Pistons are going to make life very difficult for the Knicks, but the Knicks have home court. They have all the experience. This is the Pistons' first time through. All the playoff experience on the Detroit roster is like Tobias Harris, Dennis Schroeder, and Tim Hardaway Jr. So
talk to him, Beck.
It like that matters. Knicks in 7.
There you go.
Okay,
Beck.
you're
Talk
probably
to him.
right. I got lost in the moment, but I'm sticking with it. Fuck it. Like Howard, I mean, like what Raza did with the Houston Rockets. Like, I got lost in the moment, but I'm gonna go with my pick. Fuck it. Hey, it's Buffs versus Tims. Let's get it. All right.
Mm.
You
What
don't
up,
even get it.
though?
That's fine. You don't even get it. Nobody gets it. Shout out to the Cartier Buffs. Shout out No Fly Zone trick out here.
What? Yeah, I don't. Listen.
Cliff feels me. Cliff is probably gonna have to edit a couple of these things out. It's fine. Fix it in post. Anyways, let's go. I gotta ask one more time. Kangs. They got their ass kicked in a rare national TV game in Sacramento, and then an hour later, also read friend of the show Sam Amick's piece on this in The Athletic. So basically, what happens is the Kangs, lose. Ronnie McNair goes into the locker room, tells everybody this is what we're going to work on this offseason. This is what you guys got to get better. This is what we need to do. Not even 15 minutes later after that, he goes into Vivek's office. I don't know which office it was. If I had to guess, it was probably in that fucking like VIP section near the Kings locker room at Golden One. And he fires Monty McNair. When they say, "Hey, next time we're going to get it." They're going to get it. Here's the secret. There's not going to be a next time. That's what Vivek said, right? And immediately hired Scott Perry, which seems like a move you make in 2012. What the hell are the Kings doing, Howard? We talk about crash outs. I mean, this was a good 2-year run. We're done, right? We're back into the Stone Ages right now with the Sacramento Kings, right? It's about to be Arco Arena circa 2012, 2013, wheeling and dealing, ads falling from the sky type deal. It's going to be rough in Sacramento, right?
As long as they don't rename the arena Sleep Train Arena, they'll be okay. Or what was the other one? Power Balance or whatever.
Yeah, they named it Power Balance after the scam wristbands.
Yes, the like energy giving wristbands or whatever, magical wristbands that were like all the rage in the mid 2000s.
Did you have a Power Balance wristband, Raja, back in your day?
Negative.
Okay.
Listen, before we get back to clowning the Kangs, just a quick note of seriousness. Like, I really do feel bad for Kings fans and for people in Sacramento because it was a long ass road back to respectability. And it lasted 5 minutes. Your coach of the year is gone. Your executive of the year is gone. Your clutch player of the year / all NBA point guard is gone. Your all NBA forward / center. I don't like if I'm Domantas Sabonis, I'm asking some tough questions this offseason of them. You've got you've become
so
Chicago
I'm asking
Bulls.
One question: if I'm Sabonis, can I get the fuck up out of here, please? Could you trade me? That's what I'm asking.
That boils it down. You've become Chicago Bulls West with DeRozan and Levine. Your owner is meddling as much as he ever did, despite the fact that people tried assuring me a couple times in recent years, oh, no. Vivek Ranadive, the reputation's all wrong. Like he's no, the reputation's not all wrong. This is all him. By all accounts, including the reporting we've seen out there, including conversations I've had myself as well, it's Ranadive who wanted to blow out Mike Brown when he did over Monty McNair's objections. It's Vivek Ranadive, the owner, who wanted who rushed through the De'Aaron Fox trade that ends up landing them Zach LaVine and his contract. Like
also was pushing to sign DeMar DeRozan, despite the fact that Monty McNair did not want DeMar DeRozan on the team.
I've heard mixed versions of this, that maybe, like Monty was on board, but maybe not as enthused. But whatever. Like, things are in a bad place, and the owner has a lot to do with it. And the only silver lining to Monty McNair getting fired the other night, well, there's two. One, you don't have to deal with this shit show anymore. And two, at least it wasn't Jeremy Lamb walking in to fire you. So that's a deeper cut people can go with.
If you know, you know.
But it's not great. And look, I've known Scott Perry a long time. I like Scott a lot, but and Joe Dumars, one of my favorite people in the NBA, has just gotten hired to run the Pelicans this week. Both of these hires came very quickly after the firings of those GMs, which speaks to bad process by ownership in both teams. Have a search. Consider all options in both cases. And again, I'm not saying that whether it's Dumars or Perry, they're not going to do a good job.
Was Griff out there? He could have built a team, right? Wasn't he out there in the wind right there? Could have maybe been
Where are we at?
I'm just saying, Griff could have. Griff was on the market. There was other people on the market.
Yeah, right. I mean, there are no rules. There are no rules about like interviewing and having conversations. I never hit him. Man. Me boy need a little bit of time, but like, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Howard. Finish your rant, because like the you had already made your decision on those, right? Like those were.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And look, Dumars has ties to Pelicans ownership and leadership. Scott Perry had a previous stint with the Kings and had ties to Vivek Ranadive. And it's just I am not casting aspersions on either of these two gentlemen. I like them both a lot. And I think the potential for them to do a good job is absolutely there. However, those two were together with the Pistons in their heyday in the early 2000s. And like, to a process now of hiring a new head of basketball operations needs to start with, one, have an open process where you're actually considering all kinds of potential candidates. And two, like, grabbing the person that you know already, it so often goes the wrong way. And Ranadive's done this before in hiring Vlade Divac. I've said this many times about Jeannie Buss immediately hiring Magic and Rob Pelinka. Like, I don't think the first thing you should do as owner in a time of stress is just grab the person that you know the best, who happens to be a former player or team exec who you have a relationship with. Have a real process. Ask a lot of people, what should be our path forward? Especially if you're in the Kings position. What should be our path forward? Get a lot of creative ideas from various candidates, people who are like the number 2 or the number 3 with a successful front office, maybe, from Oklahoma or from Miami or from, Golden State or wherever, the Clippers. There's a lot of smart organizations. If you're not tapping, what's that?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. If you're not tapping into that.
Clippers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said Trent Redden. Yeah.
There's so many smart people out there working in secondary roles in front offices who you could interview, talk to, get ideas from. Maybe you still end up hiring Scott Perry in the end, but like the process is bad here. And that's concerning.
Man, as the Kings at this point, and this speaks to just gross incompetence from one guy, Vivek Ranadive. But no matter who goes there, they're the organization now where there's so many leaking, right? There's so much leaking. There's so much distrust between coaches. No one knows who's in charge, even though they know Vivek is in charge. But no one knows who's in charge on the day-to-day, right? You have a coach in Doug Christie who, very nice guy, but seems to be way in over his head.
By the way, that's also Vivek, by the way, sorry to interrupt.
Right, exactly. And who wanted Doug Christie to be the coach for years now. And he's probably going to be put in place next year for a whole season, which is going to be, it's going to be tough. But like, you have all of this dysfunction, and even like with Scott Perry, whoever is the GM, they have to look over their shoulders at all times, because all you have to do is look at the courtside seat next to Vivek to see who is in his ear at any given time, right? It could be Jeremy Lamb at one point in time. It could be Vlade Divac at one point in time. It could be any number of Kings alumni from that 01-02 team that they just can't shake that from their history. It could be any one of those guys if they're sitting next to Vivek. The Kings are never going to be good and I think this last stretch has proven they're never going to be good as long as Vivek is the principal owner of that team. Point blank, period. We kind of saw that it is what it is. And I think the rest of the league is going to know that you're going to have to overpay, which Vivek doesn't do. If you know, you know. You're going to have to overpay to get people to trust you. Then you're going to have to get out of the way. It's not going to happen. And I think when you talk about the Pelicans, you talk about the Kings, two of the worst NBA ownerships in the league. And it's showing through by their processes and how they handle things. And, we can talk about the Pelicans. It'd be a whole other podcast, but I don't want to be too depressing. But the Kangs are going to Kang, and this is going to be a terrible organization for the next decade to come. And I don't even think that's even hyperbole, unless Vivek sells the team. Anything else on that, Howard and Raja? You guys had anything else? Raja's asleep right now because I went on my epic rant.
No. Like I said, I don't have much to add to that. You guys, can't get right is what you just can't get right, boss.
Yeah, can't get right, boy. Okay, before Raja takes his cornbread and goes home.
Well, you my cornbread. And the rest of you farmers around here, you better get the taste out your mouth.
Taste out your mouth. Howard, do you know what movie that is from? Okay, moving on. Cliff, what's going on, my boy?
Yo, why y'all do my man Howard like that, man? What's going on with y'all, yo?
Do you know what movie that is from, Cliff?
No, I don't even. What movie is that from? I probably missing the line.
Life, man. Jesus Christ. One of the greatest, most
I forgot about it.
Comedies of all time with Eddie Murphy and
no, I seen Life.
Lawrence.
I seen Life a million. I seen Life a million times, but that ain't up there. It ain't up there for me, yo. It's a good movie, but it ain't up there for me.
Victoria knew. Shout out
Victoria. I almost downloaded. Real talk, I almost downloaded it just to watch. I didn't see it 97 times. I almost just at least I'm gonna watch this morning. Almost downloaded.
It's definitely a good joint for sure. All right, let's get to the first question. Question for the show from a Knicks fan. This is Cameron Paolini, whatever. Sorry, Cam, butchering your name. What do you guys think would be considered a successful postseason for the Knicks? Giving the Celtics a tough second-round series, making the Eastern Conference Finals, and if they fail to meet those expectations, is it fair to start asking questions of Tibbs' job security? Love the show, Cam. You already know how I feel. I think, Isaiah Stewart might crash.
Pack him up.
Yeah.
I love how you say the reason why they're going to win is Isaiah Stewart. That's hilarious. But let's go to our former Knicks beat writer, Howard motherfucking Beck.
The funny thing is, we just finished talking about bad ownership and what it can do to your franchise. There was a large stretch of the last 20 years where the Kings and Knicks, I think, were neck and neck for the lead in most GMs and coaches hired and fired. And lack of stability is part of being a really bad franchise. And the Knicks have had incredible stability for the last 5 years. Leon Rose running basketball ops, Tom Thibodeau as head coach. Not coincidentally, this has also been not just the most stability, but the most success they've had. So, look, it's always fair if a team falls short of expectations, fan expectations, or certainly ownership expectations. It's always fair to then speculate on the coach's job. That's just life in the NBA. Do I think it would be justified? No, but justification and fairness have nothing to do with it. It's the NBA. I will just say this. Back-to-back 50-win seasons for the Knicks. First time since the mid-90s, 93, 94, 94, 95. 3 straight winning seasons for the first time since 2010 to 13. Been to the second round the last 2 years. Lost to Miami in 6 in 2023.
Do they have those banners up in MSG, by the way? Do they have those? They should. No. They haven't won no shit since. It's like the equivalent of a championship. Sorry.
I want a 5-year stability banner. 5 years with the same head coach and GM. Lost to the Pacers last year.
Bernard King's jersey.
Lost to the Pacers last year in 7, of course, and they were banged up as hell at the time. They're the 3rd seed, so expectations go with that a little bit. Losing to the Pistons, I don't think it's catastrophic to me because I think the Pistons are really good. I don't think they're your average 6 seed, but yeah, it would not go over well. More likely, they're going to lose in the second round to the Celtics, who they are not expected to beat and should not be expected to beat, and who they are 0-4 against this season. Also 0-4 against the Cavaliers. I think Knicks fans themselves are pretty realistic right now, hoping for the best, but understanding that this team is still a notch below the top 2 teams in the East and certainly below the Celtics. So like winning the first round, losing to the Celtics in the second round is kind of the expected outcome. So then it comes down to, well, did you lose in 4, 5, 6, or 7? How much of a fight did you put up? And like, I think the details of that are going to have a lot to do with how the franchise responds. But if they blew out Thibodeau after this playoff run, wherever it ends, to me, that would raise a warning flag about the Knicks again in a way that we haven't seen in a while, because they have had stability.
All right. Sounds all right.
Yeah, I agree. Like they get to that second round and compete to some degree with the Celtics. I think you're all right.
I mean, I will just say real quick, the Knicks went all in last summer. Let's not forget. They sent out every draft pick they had to get Mikal Bridges. They made the trade for Karl Anthony Towns. They're pretty locked in. And when you make big swings like that, I think ownership does generally expect we're going to make another step forward. So losing the second round for a third straight year, and with this owner in particular, you just never know.
All right. Next question. This is from Matt Wright. Thanks, Beck, for the blue sky nudge to send in a question. This one may be for Raja, since I've always wondered if being on a team starts to feel like any other job. And if so, is the greatness of some incredibly annoying coworkers really worth it? Every time I watch Draymond play, all I can think is, man, it would suck to work with that guy. And yet Steph is obviously okay with it. Thanks for taking the question. And sorry I couldn't work in a severed floor joke. Matt W.
Matt. Well done, Howard, with the nudge. Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, if at some point, I guess it's different for everyone. Basketball, it becomes a job. It didn't for me for a while, and then somewhere as I got traded to Golden State, it became more of a job than it was like my dream that I was living, like I had been for so long in the NBA. I don't know when that happens to everyone, but I think typically when you're on good teams that are fun and you have good people and good work environments, I think this is just for like any field that people work in. Like that's a joy to go in and do what you do. You love to do what you do, and you have great people around you. And it's a good work environment. Those are fun. The NBA, it's usually coincides with losing and not being on really good teams. Some of those can still be fun workplaces. Like we didn't win a ton of games. Like my first year or my second year in Utah, I think it was my first second year in Utah. We weren't like a great team, but we played hard. We were all in the same kind of wheelhouse and demo in terms of age, and we all like to be around one another. That was cool, but other teams I was on that weren't great. Like it wasn't as fun. So and the people that you work with do play a role in that. Like if you have grating personalities, like people that are shitty and just like anything though. Yeah. The people that you see on a day to day, the people that you're traveling with on flights across the country, the people you have to listen to bitch and complain, when they've got it pretty good and relatively speaking, they should be happy. Like, yeah, that'll start to work anybody's nerves.
I have a question for you, Raja. I think I can pinpoint the exact time when it became a job for you in the NBA. And you can cut this out if you don't want this out, but I saw a friend of the show, Amino Hassan, and he was talking about when recently, like a couple days ago, and we were talking about you, and he was talking about a time when you guys were in Tucson, I believe, at the University of Arizona, and Terry Porter was the coach, and you were very upset with what the game plan was going on, and you went to the other side of the court and was doing a micing drill, or either a micing drill, or you were giving or throwing up sky hooks from the 3-point line, right? So you would do your drill on the other side of the court while the team was doing offensive concepts, and every so often you would come to half court and say, "What the fuck are we doing?" And everybody would try not to laugh because, they were trying to have some level of decorum, but everybody was on your side. It would be like, it would just start or try to bite their bottom lip so they didn't laugh. Was that when it became a job for you, Raja Bell?
I don't know that it was like that moment in time that day, but it was certainly that year. But it speaks to again, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not going to be doing all of that, but the joy wasn't there. we had lost the joy and the leadership in that locker room that brought us joy, and Mike D'Antoni was a big part of fostering the type of work environment that we all like to be in, and that was kind of stripped from us. We had a personnel like Sean wasn't there anymore, Mike was gone, and things were different, and it stopped being as fun as it was for me, and it became a job.
Who ordered the poo-poo platter? Raja. One thing I want to say real quick before we get to the last question.
I still don't know what the fuck we were doing. Whatever it was so stupid. I felt like I was taking crazy pills. This is the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen, and people are lapping it up. I had a problem with authority sometimes. It's okay. Everybody knows it. Who gives a shit?
Last thing on that real quick, because you mentioned Draymond and Steph, right? I would say their relationship is way more unique than somebody else on the team that is playing alongside Draymond, who was maybe just coming in and might be yo, what the fuck is going on? Their relationship is just so much more deeper than just a random crash out, canceling their relationship. You know what I'm saying? I think, and also Draymond don't do that shit. Hold on.
I want to be clear, though. That had nothing to do with Draymond. That was
for sure.
My response.
But his name was brought up, and I just wanted to I thought that was an opportunity to bring more context to him and Steph's relationship. He's not Thing about Draymond is he knows who to crash out to and who to not crash out to, right? He knows what the hierarchy is. He's not doing that shit with Steph. It's not happening. He sees his relationship with Steph as way more of a partnership, and also Steph is the person that has kept me here this whole time. I'm not going to fuck that relationship up, and I'm not going to fuck that up. So it's less likely that that doesn't mean it doesn't annoy Steph, but it is less likely to affect their relationship than it would be someone else around in the locker room who was new to the locker room, if that makes sense. Let's do one more question, Cliff.
Let's get to Ben Allaire. Howard said on Blue Sky to resend us with a note to a producer, Cliff, demanding justice. So here I am demanding justice. My son believes that alley-oop dunk should be worth 3 points. 1 for the passer, 2 for the dunker. Ducks only, hand must contact rim, no self alley-oops. Is this a good idea or the best idea? RMJ equals H.
For the new NBA Jam, that'd be fire. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, go ahead, Howard.
All right, so RMJ equals H is a long time great member of the NBA social media community on both Twitter and now Blue Sky. And he had hit me within the last 24 hours. I didn't know what the question he had already sent you was, Cliff, but because you had, I guess, ignored it, I said, well, just hit Cliff again. It's fine. And just tell him, demand justice, man. So shout out to actual name Ben for upping it. Did not know that this was the actual question. Yeah, probably not. But I like the spirit of it. Alley-oops are awesome. They take a certain degree. There's a degree of difficulty, extra points for degree of difficulty. Maybe we work this in along with Kirk Goldsberry's proposals for tailoring the 3-point line, and we find a new way to score 3 points after we cut off the corner 3. Now you can get the alley-oop 3. There we go.
Okay.
But no.
I don't even agree with the corner 3. It's all that's stupid. I'm sorry. I love Kirk though. He's tight. But no, stop it. Raj, anything? Are you up?
I'm awake. Ben, thanks for the question, man.
Thanks,
I'm
buddy.
with Howard on the negative. Yeah, thanks, dude. Nope.
But shout out to Ben's son for being creative and trying to innovate ways to keep the NBA interesting.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh,
I mean, you're just gonna have guys on breaks. You see like the 2-on-1s, you're just gonna be throwing it up like.
Nah, that's probably really it.
Roz's AAU life is already hell. You don't want to fucking catapult that by like little kids fucking throwing up alley-oops. That's 3 points. Roz is gonna fucking self-combust. It's gonna die.
I'm gonna lose my shit.
Is there one more? Or is that it? That's it?
Yeah, that's it. That'll do it.
All right.
I thought there wasn't there a Bucks question in there, or you just
what?
Shelving that one. We don't.
Oh, wait, I forgot. Howard screens all the questions. So
I don't screen them. I simply ask for a preview. I want to make it clear to the listeners. I'm not deciding what Cliff does or does not ask us. I just ask for him to send them to me.
You know what? No, Howard, there's one. You are right. There is one more. I thought I hit the last one there. Adam Carr, I guess that's his name. Real One's Bucks question. Hey, y'all. So I had a dream the other night where my wife and I were delivering meals to hungry folks with your pod crew in a weird Japanese mall that was somehow also an apartment building. She thought Howard was hilarious. Logan was being super nice to me, and Raja was all business. Totally focused on getting these motherfucking lunches
Sounds
where
about
they
right.
need to be. It was great. Just wanted to say I appreciate you guys, even in a fictional scenario. Also, shout outs to Cliff and Victoria, who are probably there too. But my memory sucks. Anyway, Bucks fan here. As much as it pains me, I do think trading Giannis will probably be the wisest move after they flame out yet again this year. What would that mean for Dame? Should they move him too? Given the aging curve to this squad, ditto for Lopez, is there even much value left in these dudes? When Kyle Kuzma is the fountain of youth on your team and you're sitting in the second apron, shouldn't you just blow the whole thing up and relaunch? Thanks. Much love, Adam.
probably that's the right move. I mean, you should trade Dame because like you have no ties to him other than the fact that he was ring chasing. So trade him to a destination. Maybe trade him to Miami a couple of years too late and start from scratch, bro.
Dame's got $54 million owed next season and $58 million in a player option the season after that. So, like, he's not Bradley Beal by any stretch, but like moving Dame on those numbers at this stage of his career, I don't know if you're getting value back.
Get
or
to
if
the
you're
motherfucking bag, Dame. Relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say real quick though, like if I flame out and Giannis says it's time, all right, fine. If Giannis doesn't ask out, I ain't trading him. Like it's a pretty simple formula here. Like I know like they are locked up. The payroll is rough. Trying to improve this team around Giannis right now is going to be very difficult given CBA rules and all that. But I'm only trading Giannis if he asks out. And that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is like you lose in the first round and the other shoe drops this summer with Giannis saying it's time. That's the worst case scenario. But if you do trade Giannis, yeah, of course you're trading Dame. There's no point in having Dame without Giannis. And at that point, yeah, you're trade Brook Lopez, trade Bobby Portis. Just you're tearing it down to the studs and trying to reload. It's hard because your picks are mostly gone, and you
get them back with Giannis though, right? You would get your
other teams' picks. No, but the point is that when you lean into tanking, when you do the blow it up scenario, if you have all your own picks, part of the blowing it up is
you get the high
it's okay
pick.
for us to suck. We're going to get high picks,
Yeah.
but you don't have control of your own picks. So they're going to get other people's picks in a Giannis deal. But it bottoming out is tough if you don't have control of your picks.
All right. Rob's falling asleep here. Please get your rest, buddy.
Agreed.
Before we go, realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com. Me and Raja will be back on Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, we're
okay,
good.
cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Howard, we'll see you on Friday. Thanks to everybody. All the shits. Victoria on the video. Cliff on the board. See you next week. Bye. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.